Hey guys, welcome back to Fisher Fitness Club. Today we're going to go through some basic terms you might hear around the gym or outside the gym. And to some of you, yes, I know it might seem obvious, but not everybody out there knows all the terms that we talk about. So we're going to start with some of the simple ones first and move along from there. So first we're going to talk about sets. So sets are pretty much just a group of exercises within one exercise. So for instance, if you say you have 3 sets of bench press, that means you're going to go down, you're going to do your bench press, and then you're going to pause and give yourself a little bit of recovery, and then you're going to go down and you're going to do it again. And then another pause, some recovery, and you go do it again. Now that is 3 sets of the bench press. Now within those sets you have what's called reps, and reps just stands for repetitions. So repetitions is literally just if you sit down on the bench press for your first set and you do 10 reps. It's just going to literally be 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. That is one set with 10 reps, and you're going to do that 3 times for 3 sets. So it's really not that complicated once you understand it, and it's going to be basic in any workout plan you ever do. So you also have what's called a split. Now a split is essentially how you break apart your muscle groups throughout the week. So there are tons of different splits. I'll give you 2 examples. One is doing legs one day, next day chest, the next day back, the next day shoulders, the next day arms, and then rest. That is an example of a split. And then another example you could do is, for instance, chest and back one day, and then you could do legs the next day, and then shoulders and arms the next day, and then a rest. And that's an example of another type of split. And then from there you have supersets, which you can also put into your splits during your workouts. What a superset is basically a true superset is 2 counteracting muscles working with each other. Now, for instance, you could do it with biceps and triceps. So you could quickly do bicep curls, and then once you do those bicep curls, immediately, instead of resting, go on and do tricep extensions on the cable machine. So that way, while your biceps are recovering, you're working another muscle group. So you're not really getting a full rest as far as heart rate. You keep your heart rate up, but at the same time, you're able to work the other muscle group while the other one is recovering. After that, you also have when someone says go till failure. Now failure, yes, I know it might seem simple to some of you, but failure is just literally going until you cannot go anymore. So if you're going and you're benching, and then all of a sudden you get to right here, and you just can't go anymore. That's failure. You're literally going until you cannot go anymore. Now, when somebody says, what's your max, or let's max out, that is just basically you're going as heavy as you possibly can for one single rep. Now, typically people will do this for big, heavy lifts like deadlifts, or squats, or bench press, the big compound moves that you see in a lot of competitions and powerlifting competitions. And then when somebody asks you for a spot, all that means is basically they want a little bit of help just in case they cannot get the weight up. So if you're going over to help somebody with bench press and they ask for a spot, basically you're going to stand there and watch them. And if for some reason they get to that point where they can't get it back up, to protect them, you're going to just simply put your hands under the bar and slowly lift up. Now do not be one of those people that comes over in spots and just lifts the bar right up. That's not a spot. That's just taking all the weight off them. Now when you spot, for instance in a bench press, I'm just going to use bench press for an example as for most all of these, and they're coming down. Now if they stop and they start still going back down when they should be going up, you put a little bit of pressure, just enough to get them to start going up. Do not give them all the pressure to where they just go up like that. That's not a real spot. You want to do it just to where they're still coming back up. That way they're still getting it. Which brings us on to another one called a forced rep. Now forced rep, some people will actually want a spot to use for multiple force reps. Now what that does is shock the muscles to a weight that it's not typically used to. So like for a bench press, if they want to do force reps, essentially they're doing a weight that's normally going to be too heavy for them by themselves, and you're just going to gently spot them for each rep just enough to where they're getting up. Now each rep you might have to spot more and more, but that's just tearing down those muscle fibers and getting them used to a heavier weight, which can actually help you grow in the long run. So we also have what people will say is PR. They'll come up to you and be like, hey man, what's your PR? PR is just your personal record, or PB, personal best. So that's just the basically when you go back to max, that's the max weight you can do. That's your PR, your personal best, and you can use that with any type of exercise, running, anything at all. Now, when someone comes up to you and says, can I work in? I've gone up to people and asked that, and they looked at me like they didn't know what the heck I was talking about. So when you ask somebody to work in, basically what that is if they're using a piece of equipment that you're trying to use, there's nothing else you can use in the meantime. Basically, in between their sets, when they're done using whatever piece of equipment that is, you use it. And then when you're done using it, they use it. And you just keep taking turns. You're working in with them. You're working with their set. Now, another one is a drop set. Now, a drop set is a good way to kind of shock your muscles as well. Basically, you do the amount of weight that you can do, and when you burn out, you're going to immediately drop those weights, whatever you're doing, and you're going to pick up one lighter. Depending on how low you want to go lighter, it's really just up to you. Some people will go like half the weight. I like to do about 50% of it as well. So if I were doing dumbbell shoulder presses with 80s and I burnt out, I'm going to drop them down, I'm going to pick up the 40s, and I'm going to go till failure. And that's just a good way to really get that pump and blood flow into the muscles. Now, you've also got a rest pause. And a rest pause is another good technique people will use along with drop sets. Now, rest pause, typically use the same exact amount of weight. You go till you burn out, and then you stop, you wait 15 to 20 seconds, you get them back up, and you go again. So it's just basically very minimal recovery. So it's enough to where you can get the weight back up and get a few more reps knocked out, but not enough to where you're taking a full recovery to where you could just do another set. And then we've got two other terms that I hear people don't actually know a lot about, and it's the staple in any sort of bodybuilding or workout plan. They're bulking and cutting. Now, bulking, it does not mean just putting on mass, like getting body fat and muscle and all that. Bulking, the object of bulking is basically staying in a caloric overload, staying over your maintenance calories to try to put on muscle. Now, obviously, if you go too high in calories, you're not going to put on a ton of muscle, you're going to put on a lot of fat along with it. So you just want to go a little bit over to bulk, and you're going to put on a good amount of muscle. Now, when somebody says cutting, all that means is they're staying in a caloric deficit just to lose body fat. Now, typically it's going to be very hard to put on any muscle during that because you're using up all the calories that you put in your body for the day. But by cutting, that's just going to help you lose that body fat to get that really nice toned look, and it'll pretty much help you get the abs you're looking for too. So those are just a few terms that I thought you guys should know because I've been asked a lot of questions about them. If you guys have any other questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me. You can comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow my Instagram at PatrickFisher43. And don't forget to like our fan page on Facebook at Fisher Fitness Club. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.